Hello, my name is Olivia Grindon and I give permission for this audition video to be shared with the central staff and freelance audition panellists where appropriate. My classical speech is from Henry VI, Part 3, written by William Shakespeare, and I will be playing the role of Queen Margaret.
Enforce thee! Art thou king and wilt be forced? I shame to hear you speak. Oh, you timorous wreck! Thou hast undone thyself, thy son, and me, and unto the house of York such head as thou shalt reign, but by their sufferance. To entail him and his heirs to the crown. What is it to make your sepulchre and crawl into it far before thy time? Warwick is Chancellor and Lord of Calais, and stern Falconborough commands the narrow seas, and the Duke is made protector of the realm, and yet shalt thou be safe? Such safety sees the trembling lamb environed by the wolves. Had I been there, which am such a silly woman, the soldiers should have tossed me on their pikes before I would have granted that act. But thou preferrest thy life over thy honour, and seeing thou dost, I here divorce myself both from thy table, Henry, and thy bed, until this Act of Parliament be repealed, whereon my son is disinherited. The northern lords have foregone thy colours and will follow mine. If once they see them spread it shall be to thy foul disgrace and utter ruin of the house of York. Thus I do leave thee. Come, son, let's away. Our army is ready. Come.
My contemporary speech is from Things I Know to Be True, written by Andrew Brovel, and I will be playing the part of Pip. I was on Skype with Katie the other day and I found myself thinking she was a little plump. I started wishing that her face were not quite so round and that her hair didn't fall quite so straight from her head. Is that what we do to our daughters? Praise them while we secretly think they're not good enough? That first moment they start becoming women, is that when we think they're not smart enough or pretty enough? Is that when we start to worry that they're never going to find someone or meet someone? Is that what we do? Sometimes I think it's better that girls grow up with their fathers who look at them and see nothing but the best. It's what Dad sees when he looks at me. I wish you could too. So I'm sat in my apartment in Vancouver at the moment and it's threatening to snow and I really hope it does because that's a good enough reason not to go outside, and I'm listening to the song and I'm wondering, why did it ever mean so much to you? I never understood it as a girl. I just knew that it was about love and that each time you played it you wanted to cry, which you never did. Not with us around. Only once did I ever see you properly let yourself go. You thought you were alone and you were sat in the back of the garden and you were howling and howling and bashing your head against the trunk of the tree. Why were you crying that day, Mum? And I can only ask from this distance because I'm scared of seeing the truth in your face like you saw it in mine. And then I have chosen to do a devised piece based on the French Viade, picture 2. And it will be in the style of a monologue. We had Spanish last period on a Wednesday. That's how we met. And that room was so old. The dust that had collected on those children's Spanish dictionaries had become a part of the scenery. And when that dust got kicked up, you could bite through it. And we sat at the back of the classroom, right next to those double-glazed windows that used to trap the sun in. And she told me that if I wanted to be popular, I had to not wear tights. But my legs would melt into the back of those red acrylic chairs. And I would say to myself, I've never felt more trapped in my life. And when she said, let's move, let's go, let's get out, I believed her and I thought that that would make me free. But then I was sat in that apartment that we had bought on those white plastic garden chairs that I had had to buy because you refused to, because you said you didn't have any money. And my legs were melting into them and I thought that I felt as trapped as I felt in that Spanish class where I was sat right next to her. Video end.